Good morning. Today we're going to read all of Joshua 16 and 17. So 16 is really short, so go ahead and pause and read 16 and 17. Okay, so here's where Joshua's still allotting the land. We know that he gave Judah their land first, and second he's going to give the land to Joseph's son. So this is kind of an order that we'll get used to, because Judah eventually becomes the southern nation. They just generally become the tribe of Judah and the southern half of Israel, and they're known as the Jews. And then the northern part is to Joseph's sons, who are the favorites of Israel or Jacob. And he, you'll remember, instead of giving Joseph a share, Jacob blessed Joseph's sons with a share each. So that's Ephraim and Manasseh. And so this is separating the land for them. And the northern kingdom, as they split later on in history, will sometimes be called Ephraim. It becomes a very powerful tribe. 16 talks about where that land is, and 16:10, the last verse of that chapter, says, but guess what? They didn't get rid of the Canaanites like God told them to do, and they made them slaves instead. And it's almost like, one, they're lazy, and two, oh yeah, we've got people to do our work for us. We're so lazy. So this not getting rid of the Canaanites obviously is not a good thing. It comes back to bite them. So we move on to 17, and then we're still in dividing the land, this time for Manasseh, and we get to verse 3 and 17, and there's these back in Numbers 27. So there's this guy who has, I think it's 5 daughters and no sons, maybe 6, I don't know. And so the daughters say, hey, hold the phone. You know, we're people too. We have husbands, we have kids. Just because our dad could not have sons, not our problem. We need some land. And so Moses had said, sure, you can have some land. And so their descendants now say to Joshua, hey, remember us? Moses promised us the land. And so this is all in the tribe of Manasseh. So Joshua says, sure, you can have this much land, and gives it to him. So this is, one of the ways that the Old Testament, women didn't have rights. I'm not trying to even imply that they had anything close to equal rights, but they were protected in some ways. A childless widow was taken care of. Some types of divorce were not allowed. Like the divorce where the man says 1, 2, 3, we're divorced. Couldn't do that, and that did happen in some cultures. Widows were protected from starvation. So there were examples where the Old Testament law took care of women, and this is one of them. So then we move on, starting in chapter 7, it talks again about the land that Manasseh is supposed to get. And then in verse 12, yet they didn't get it all, because this says the Canaanites were determined not to go, not to leave. They were going to live there. And so the people of Joseph, then, that's Manasseh and Ephraim, go to Joshua and they say, hey man, we're big, we need more land. And Joshua says, hey, no problem. Go out. There's this hill country. Go out, clear it. You can have it. And they're like, oh, that's not enough for us. And the Canaanites. They have iron chariots. Okay, again, we're talking about work, clearing the country, defeating the people with iron chariots. And Joshua says, you know what? You can do this. You've got God on your side. You can do this. So today's lesson is, don't be lazy. Don't look for excuses not to do what God's telling you to do. Do it.